I'd like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now, and I'm going to tell you something that's going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of you to hear. It's going to be hard because you've bought into this hook, line, and sinker. You bought into it when Donald Trump was saying it, and now you've bought into it now that the mainstream media is saying it. There is some suggestion that there's an international world elite cabal of child molesters and cannibals and human traffickers and all this other stuff, and it was all based out of Epstein Island. You've been taken. The clip you saw at the beginning of this was not from today or yesterday or last week or last month. It was from last year. It was a bunch of people who were allegedly Epstein Island victims who were telling you that they were going to put out a list of their victimizers, which would be awesome. I would fully support that. I want to see that. And do it. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. Do it whenever you want to do this. But let's go ahead and let's do this. You also have individuals like Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey saying they're going to do it on the floor. And when they do it on the floor, then they have to recant some of the stuff they're doing because they are incapable of getting it right.
Why haven't you released the names? You said you were going to release the names.
I got some of these questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have the names. I never had the names, never claimed to have the names. The survivors have the names. And what I did was to offer to read those names on the floor of the House if we couldn't get the government to release them. That wasn't the be-all, end-all. That's an inducement to the government to say, look, at the end of all of this, we are eventually going to get these names out, but we're going to make you release them. And so the other reason not to release, let's say we've got 20 names, is there's probably 100, right? And if we release the 20, they could release the 20 documents that name those 20 people and keep 80 documents secret. As long as there are some names that the survivors have that the DOJ hasn't released, then they got to keep doing releases.
Why? Because I already said, the idea that there's some international cabal of world elite human trafficker, cannibal sex traffickers, pedophiles, whatever you want to call them, operating from some island is ridiculous. Now, you hear a lot about arrests, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But it's worth noting, the only people ever convicted of this kind of stuff were Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason for that is pretty clear. They were the ones doing the trafficking. And all these people that are blacked out, you're suggesting that they're actually the people who have committed all these crimes and they're being blacked out. They're not. It's very clear. The people that have been blacked out are people who are both victims and co-conspirators. People who were involved in bringing additional people to the island, but who were manipulated in the first place. We have heard all of this. We've learned all of this, but we want there to be some sort of giant cabal of world elite, pedophile, human trafficker, sex trafficker, cannibals who are running everything. And we can't understand that that's not the case. For some reason, I don't understand. This was obvious garbage from the very beginning. Yes, Jeffrey Epstein is a terrible monster and deserves everything he got. Ghislaine Maxwell deserves to be in jail, and she deserves to stay there. And anyone else these people want to blame and name and shame, fine. Go right ahead and do so. But we're watching now as 3 individuals have now been arrested around the world. One, a former prince named Andrew. The other, and a former ambassador from the UK to the US. And the third is some French official. Now, I'm going to go slowly for you on this and show you something. None of this is related to the sex trafficking, cannibalism, human trafficking, pedophilia, world elite running the country and the world from an island. That's not what was going on. If Jeffrey Epstein had that information, Why wouldn't he have used it as leverage when he was sitting in jail? Oh, he's waiting for someone to come kill him? That's what our suggestion is? And why is a government that can't stop leaking anything not leaking all the names of all these people that did this? I'll tell you why. It's beneficial for them for you to be stupid about this and to suggest that behind every redaction is an American president or a high-level businessman or someone else that you hate. That is good for them because now they have it both ways. There's no evidence, but there's no evidence they didn't do it, and that way you can accuse them. That is all this is about. You're being manipulated. And the media loves this. Don't get me wrong. The media wants this story now. They wanted nothing to do with it in the past, and now they want this story. Because now this is the story they believe is finally going to take down Donald Trump. And they may be right. They may absolutely be right. The American people are furious about this. They have been told by both sides for years that there's something on this list. And neither side has delivered. Why? Well, the only thing that could be is that they're working in a conspiracy together to hide that information. Or what's most likely is there never was any information, and everyone claiming there was and everyone claiming there is now is being dishonest for political power, and you're being manipulated.
Former GOP Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene bashed President Donald Trump and the, quote, current state of MAGA for the lack of arrests in the U.S. related to the Epstein files. She pointed to the arrest of former Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor in the UK. Her comments come as the public is increasingly dissatisfied with the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein files. An Economist YouGov poll says 50% of citizens disapprove of the way Donald Trump is handling investigations into Jeffrey Epstein. While no arrests have been made in the U.S., top figures implicated in the files are facing consequences in the UK and France. Former French Culture Minister Jacques Lang is under criminal investigation over connections to Epstein. French police raided Lang's office as part of the investigation. Revelations from the Epstein files have led to a host of resignations and public shame, but no arrest in the United States.
The Epstein files were a bust. If there is a list of evil human traffickers that the Epstein victims have, they should release it. If there's someone in the government who has seen these lists and what's going on, release it. But you're not hearing or seeing any of that. You're not even seeing people who have seen the files coming out and saying, here's what's in it. Boom, 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 boom. No, you're getting a bunch of stuff that is salacious nonsense brought up during the election about things Donald Trump allegedly did to babies in Lake Michigan. Why? Because it's politically motivated. That's it. And they put it all out there. And the Trump administration allowed this stuff to be put out there. Obviously, because they thought you'd see it and be like, this is ridiculous. Obviously, there's nothing here. But that's not how it went. Again, if there is information, I want to see it. But until then, I'm not going to damn an entire group of people just because I don't like them. I'm not going to suggest they're pedophiles or whatever. And I know, look, Dale's on the list. I've heard it enough. Dale's a pedophile protector. I've heard that enough as well. Your words mean nothing to me. They have zero impact on my life and cannot hurt me because I know I've done nothing wrong, ever. I'm perfect. This is an absurd moral panic that goes absolutely nowhere. And the more we engage in it, the worse it gets.